Earlier this week, I was scrolling through YouTube when I found a beautiful diamond in the rough called Cocaine Crabs from Outer Space, an absurdist horror comedy blending every killer animal movie trope you can think of. And let me say, oh my god, I can't tell if I love it or hate it. But what I do know is it delivers on being one of the most random movies I have seen. In the first few seconds of the movie, we are shown crabs looking through a telescope at Earth. Through crab dialogue, yes, you heard me right, we learn that the crabs are from planet Crabulon, who are visiting Earth. And then we're shown one of the greatest things in existence. A silver spaceship in the shape of a goddamn crab. On their way to Earth, the crab spaceship hits a satellite. Once landed on Earth, they realize their translators are broken, and they can't repair them. So they venture away from their ship to a frat house. They meet two frat guys who, after giving super cringy dialogue,
"Dude, did you like crabs back here?"
Your faces, crabs.
Want to give the crabs a beer. But like any logical adult, they decide the better option was to slap the crabs with coke. That's right. The alien crabs had some cocaine, tripped balls for a few seconds, and then murdered two dudes. After the first killing of the film, we meet our protagonist, Detective Charlie Reese, who gets called to a crime scene.
Freeze!
I laughed so hard when I saw this. They just kind of freeze waiting for their mark. So apparently the detective was called to a drug scene where the Coke King was dealing some cocaine. Shocker. After the detective arrests the Cocaine King, we cut to a homeless man on the street who's offered a donut. But the guy giving him a donut is an asshole. So he takes one of the donuts and drops the box, which technically has 4 other donuts. I think he's supposed to be seen as a douche, but he still gave the guy like 4 donuts. Anyway, the crabs find him, take his donut, and kill him. Detective Reese gets called to the first murder scene, where a police officer wearing reflective sunglasses shows us the camera. After inspecting the body for 2 seconds, the detective argues with her about the cocaine on the floor she apparently missed, and then proceeds to hand her 2 fingers in a bloody bag and says this god-awful line.
"Just because I know how much you blue shirts love fingering criminals."
The detective goes to the second crime scene that was called in by the homeless man, noticing the bloody claw marks at the dead man's feet. But oh my god, who cares? They keep making terribly cringy jokes.
It's just I've never had silk undies before. It's like both butt cheeks died and went to heaven. Oh yeah, booty like.
After that terrible interaction, the detective reports to his captain about the murders. But Mr. Detective Guy is apparently a Batman-level detective because he already thinks that animals killed the victims and that they were crabs. Why is that his first thought? Can you imagine if that happened in a different show? I can't believe he's dead. It was a donkey. What? It was a donkey. If you look at the marks, there's nibbles all over him, like a fleshy carrot. Not just that, but he's also got pieces of fur on him and a mark on his thigh. Most likely the donkey was pregnant. 5 weeks. No. 5 weeks, 3 days. What? After talking with the captain, he's told he needs a marine biologist or animal specialist to back him up. So then we get the worst character introduction ever, where a pet store worker named Alex, almost completely unprompted, gives a monologue about fish like she's reading a dictionary.
Even though I'm more qualified than you for this job on just about every level there is, because you see, male betas are extremely territorial.
She goes on to insult her boss about not eating soap when the detective comes in. He asks for her credentials and who she is. And they really wanted us to know how smart she is, because only semi-prompted, she spoke like she was in a Star Wars deleted scene.
The dialogue was a little bit difficult. I remember there was one line that I just begged him to take out. But we can't turn back. Fear is their greatest defense. I doubt if the actual security there is any greater than it was on Aquilai or Solus, and what there is most likely directed towards a large-scale assault.
The detective decides that she knows what's up, so they leave the building, and this isn't important to the story, but the pet shop's owner opened and ate a bar of soap. That's in the movie. We get another killer cocaine crab scene as the crabs find a man in his garage and hide in his pile of flour in an attempt to kill him. I can't tell if it's supposed to be cocaine, but I for sure know it's flour. They pop out of the flour tub and literally claw off pieces of his face, throwing them to the ground, after which they suck up what I assume is cocaine off each other. Alex and the detective show up to the murder scene and get made fun of by the other police officers for their crab theory. So they put Alex in a blindfold and asked her to describe how a crab would kill a person, which is exactly what happened to the dead body, in which the detective lets the birds fly free as he dances around his fellow officers. They leave the crime scene and have a terrible conversation. None of it matters, except the fact that the detective apparently has a crab allergy, and he felt crab at each murder scene. Keep in mind, he hasn't seen any crabs. He's just like, oh yeah, I have this crab allergy, so that's how I know. Then in the conversation, they foreshadow that it's impossible for the crabs to multiply, so it at least can't get worse. You know what? I agree with them. There is no way on planet Earth they're on a date with a giant mountain of cocaine. When I watched this scene, I actually really enjoyed it. It was silly, fun. I didn't think anything would really happen, and it was alright. But then I had to watch a 20-second clip where the crabs get in a van and shake it in their crab making, followed by a super weird birthing process in which a bunch of baby crabs shoot out the crab's asshole. Once the crabs get made, they go on a spree of mischief where they steal balls, get hit by golfers, pop out of cakes. But what really takes the cake from this whole sequence is when a crab sucks the face off of a woman and then ambush a jogger by jumping on her from a tree. It's one of the greatest things I have ever seen. At the pet shop, Alex gets attacked by a crab with nunchucks, but the detective shoots it with a bullet to save her. I guess he's got good aim. And then one of my favorite movie deaths of all time follows as they run out to the car. After that wonderful death, we get a ridiculous Cirque du Soleil circus performance accompanied with music and watched by the crabs. Then they just cut away to the police captain being scared the same way 5 times in a row. Something that's also in the movie is a magazine called Krusler. It is used to bait a crab in order to trigger a Rube Goldberg machine to trap it, but it fails. And like any other sane person, what does the detective do? He shoots it. He shoots the crab. They open up the crab and find super dry powder inside the stomach.
How in the hell did that stay unprocessed inside of that crab?
What is it?
Coke?
Not much happens for a while. The crabs attack people and stuff, but then Alex and the detective are looking for ground zero in the middle of the street when Alex trips on nothing and shows her seeing crab tracks from a completely different location.
Okay, I'm a space crab whose killer alien Coke babies have spread all over. What do I do?
Their plan is to lure the parents out of hiding with Coke, so they bust out the Coke dealer that the detective arrested earlier in the film. And the Coke King only does 3 things. He laughs randomly, hides cocaine in his jacket, which I guess nobody at the police station looked at, and makes weird noises to summon 3 women in an expensive car. In trying to figure out how to lead away the crabs, they think of a genius plan. They dressed in crab costumes. And it worked. They led the crabs away with cocaine, but ran out. They were completely surrounded by these bloodthirsty, constantly killing, not moving monsters. The detective gets knocked out, and in a turn of events, Alex rips out a giant car part from a nearby vehicle. She ripped what I believe is the exhaust out of the car and proceeded to smash the crabs into oblivion. The main crabs get away on a skateboard, so the protagonists pursue them in a vehicle. Also, a crab ate garden food and grew into the size of a building. Anyway, they follow the crab into a barn filled with farm equipment and look for the crabs in what is supposed to be suspenseful, but it just feels slow and fast at the same time. They get attacked by the crabs, Alex hits one, and it lets out a gigantic high-pitched scream. A bunch of mini crabs come barreling to the barn and surround them. The detective even gets dragged away by one. He's about to be killed until...
Oh, this!
He found the crab's mouth and proceeded to blast the cocaine out of its bare ass. God, I love this movie. The cocaine is apparently completely out of the crab's system, and then blows the cocaine out of its other crab friend, and together they make a high-pitched sound that all the near crabs explode to. They go to the radio station where the radio host has been taken hostage by a crab with a pizza cutter, but they just explode into a crab-splosion pretty easily. Then they destroy all the crabs with a high-pitched scream over the radio, including the giant kaiju crab which explodes green liquid on a nearby crowd. With the killer baby crabs gone, the alien crabs, now no longer coked out of their mind, use tools from Earth to fix their translator and then hold a press conference.
People of Earth, my name is...
They answer a bunch of useless questions, apologize for killing people, they get off scot-free. Eventually, they're asked why they came to Earth. Something we've wondered this entire time. They say the words,
We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
Also, a lobster ship flies in looking for meth and the movie ends. This movie was ridiculous, fun, boring, cringy, too fast, and too slow all at the same time. And it wasn't that disgusting, but I wasn't too keen on seeing two crabs getting it on. I love these kinds of movies, and it's hard to make them, so no shade thrown, and congrats to the filmmakers.